Welcome back to another episode. If you're curious, I did shock the piss out of myself when I picked up away from that ground on the alternator body. All right, so as you can tell, I got a spark plug out and checking spark. We're down a cylinder, number 8, not putting anything out. So the other day I said we went for a ride, got it warmed up, and it started to misfire. Got it back to the house. It would die at idle. Let it cool off, fired it back up, ran smooth again. So I'm like, this is gonna be a weird chase. Once it got warm again, started misfiring again. Anyhow, long story short, it sounded on the passenger side. So I was like, well, we're just gonna diagnose it with the old, see which cylinder it is. Pop spark plugs, right? So pull number 8 off the distributor, just because it's the one on the front, and boom, instantly 0 change. Clearly we have a dead number 8 cylinder, like it's not putting out power at all. So I was like, well, shoot, I'm sure I fouled out a spark plug. This is the spark plug. I don't know if it'll transfer in the pictures or not, but it looks like the hook up on top has some kind of break where it meets to the body. I don't know if that's just the way it was made factory, or anyway, I don't know that that's what it is. So when I got the spark plug out and it looked like it was okay, the wire looked okay, I did the quick spark test and that seemed to be okay. It seemed to be firing. So I don't know if I have like a cap rotor that's having some kind of issue whenever it gets warm. Maybe the wire has an issue when it gets warm. Maybe the spark plug has an issue when it gets warm. My other big thought was like, man, I probably just dropped a valve, because that's logical. It's an old motor I have no idea anything about. So I grabbed the compression testing kit out, hooked it up to number 8, cycled it over a couple of times, came up to about 120 every time. I thought that might be a little bit low. I'll put up here what it showed on the old video, or y'all go check it out. And then I ran number 1. It showed about 120 also. I did consider the fact that I had all the spark plugs in except for the 2 that I pulled out to test, but at least I don't have a down valve or something completely parted. So we have compression, whether it's good or not or whatnot, whatever, it's good enough to run. So anyhow, so this morning we're going to the parts store. I'm gonna grab a fresh spark plug just to be safe, and then we're gonna swap out a wire. I pulled the rotor cap off. The little tits on the inside were a little corroded, so I scuffed them off with some Scotch-Brite and then hit them with a wire brush, cleaned those up as best I could. Yeah, we're rambling. Let's get to work. All right, so I'm back. I just got some auto light, whatever's, doesn't really matter. I think my first plan is I'm going to pull the number 1 spark plug. I'll put it in the number 8 hole, and then I'll put the one from the number 8 into the number 1 and see if it'll recreate. If it does, I got this one for backup, and then I'll just have to go to another part shop to get a matching spark plug. So hopefully we can cure this thing up. When were y'all gonna warn me? I'm down here working on stuff. I can't see like that. All y'all watching these videos and not one person was not telling me that the nut wasn't on the bolt for the motor mount. Look at this thing. Just down here, free floating. Y'all didn't even want to mention it. Go ahead and put those bolts on real quick. And I'll give y'all a little bit of light so you can see. If you're curious, number 8 is a bear to get to. at least with the factory exhaust manifolds on here. All right, so this is the number 8 spark plug. I pulled number 1, put it in number 8. I'm gonna put this back in the number 1 hole, and then we'll reassemble the distributor. All right, here's number 1. Number 8 is this joker right here. Number 4. Number 3. Number 6. This is number 8. This is number 6. That's number 7. And then this guy must be number 5. All right, I got the car sitting back on the ground. We got 5.5 pounds of fuel pressure. Give it a couple squirts. Bring the thunder. Definitely have to hook up the rest of the distributor. That's my bad. Oh wow. Maybe start by bolting it down. All right, bring the thunder. Well, we haven't improved it yet. Changed out spark plugs. No difference. The rotor is getting spark. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna start back from the basics. Start with finding top dead center on one again. Seeing where the distributor's turned at, make sure, you know, we don't have or the rotor's turned to, make sure that we don't have something, you know, something stupid going on with that. Walk the wires back in, make sure every single one gets back to the right spot. I mean, that or maybe the spark plug wire itself, but it seems like it's doing its thing. So anyhow, all right, I'll let you know. Almost instant death right there. All right, so I ran to the parts store and grabbed a new cap and rotor set. At this point, none of it really makes sense. It seems to me like it's sparking, but I know for a fact I have compression, which means I feel like I can't be leaking really. Anyway, I feel like if I have compression and I have spark, then there's not a whole lot left to diagnose really, you know. Right here I'm pulling the cover off the coil. Whenever you get a new cap and rotor set, you have to swap the coil over to your new one. Coil looks a little rusty, but it's shooting fire, so I'll go ahead and swap it over. Just inspecting to see if I see anything obvious. The button in the center looks a little bit worn, other than the rust around the edges, but it's not really on any of the electrical components, so. Now I'm reinstalling the leads from the coil. Alright, so I finished reinstalling the coil into the distributor cap. Now I'm turning the motor over to find top dead center, just holding my thumb over the first spark plug hole until it blows all the air out. You can hear it here in about right now. Oh, one more. One more. And that was just a touch past. But that's going to be close enough to be able to get it fired up. Now I'm setting the distributor. I've already swapped the rotor out. Now I'm just setting the cap back on. Get that all hooked up. Connect all the wires, triple checking, making sure that I have everything going to the right point. Alright, so I am banging my head against the wall here. I've changed the spark plug wire. I've now replaced the cap and rotor. This one says fast on it, so that's got to be 5-10 horsepower at least right there. I double checked that my number one cylinder was at top dead center. We were pointing at number one. Everything I know about this is correct. So I guess we will fire her up again. Fire in the hole. So I'm doing just a little tuning since I reset top dead center. Give the distributor a little turn so that until it gets to its highest idle. That's just a good ballpark of where it should be. Taking a number 8 spark plug wire off again, still no change. Still having the same problem. It is sparking like crazy though. But you can see how rough the motor is running right there. A lot of vibration. Oh, wait. Alright, I got the valve cover off. I really didn't want to do it, but it's really the only thing I can think of. Maybe I wiped a lobe. Maybe we got a lobe that's gone on the cam and it is no longer opening the intake valve. I mean, I have no idea. Anyway, I'm gonna put y'all right here. I'm gonna go crank the car. Y'all tell me what you see. Number 8, the very back set. All right, go. All right, go ahead. Had to go stop by the ball field to watch a little pee-wee ball. I'm baffled. At this point, we've checked compression, checked spark. We have both of those. We've checked the valve train on top. It's moving what seems to be properly. The only thing I can think is it's not getting fuel to number 8. I just have to figure out how that is. So I'm gonna do a little pondering. It's 9 o'clock at night, so I'm gonna head into the house. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's see if we can't figure this out. Good morning. So I talked to, I didn't stop working last night at it. I was trying to figure this thing out. It had me confused and questioning my ability to understand how a motor works. Anyhow, so I was talking to the mechanic for the company that I work for. And I told him what I did, and he said, man, it sounds like you did everything I would have done. And I said, well, the only thing that makes sense to me is we're not getting fuel to the cylinder. And I said, so it has to be like a vacuum leak. Somehow or another, I'm not drawing fuel into the cylinder. And he said, well, if your intake manifold is split, like a dual plane, then potentially instead of not getting fuel to the cylinder, maybe you're not letting fuel out on that whole bank. And I was like, well, surely I didn't lose 4 cylinders. You think you'd notice that, you know, but sure enough, man, I fired it back up last night. So maybe you can't exactly tell. I'll show you better. But this this intake plane, along with number 8, and then the 2 on the inside on the other side, so 3 and 5 are all dead. We're only running on 4, 6, 1, and 7. I guess that's why it was running rough. So next is I'm going to heat up my ultrasonic parts cleaner, pull the carburetor off. We're going to break it down. I already have a carb redress kit. I was going to redress the carburetor already. Yeah, we're going to go through that and see if we can't get this thing cured. You can see all the buildup that is inside this carburetor. It's amazing that it was running at all, actually. I mean, it had so much in the bowls. Here I'm tearing the top hat apart. Look at all the stuff that poured out of the inlet. I mean, it was really caked up in there. The wire meshes caught a lot, but it was, I mean, there was so much. Now I'm pulling the bottom half apart. Let me be real clear. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is the first time I've ever redressed a carburetor. So basically I watched a video, saw what he tore apart. All right, so I got all my parts for the lower section. I don't know what those are for. Might have to look at the instructions. This is the top hat, floats. They actually came with replacement float seats. Everything went in there, is just about finished. So this is what happened. The intake manifold is a dual plane, right? So it's got this side pulls to number 1, 7, and then also pulls to 4 and 6, and then number 8 and number 2 and 3 and 5 are all on the same I guess you'd call them circuits. So I pulled my number 8 spark plug wire. It was dead, made no change. I said, okay, so I put it back on. So then I pulled the very next one down, number 6. Well, it's on a different plane. Honestly, didn't even think about it. The factory intake is a open bore, so it pulls, you know, from all sides in one central spot. Anyhow, I was talking to a mechanic, and he said, you should maybe just put your eyes on that. And sure enough, he was completely right. So now we're redressing the carburetor. We got all of our stuff set out. I bet it's looking much nicer right now. Let me pull it out. Let's see what it looks like. That's looking pretty dang good on this top half. I'm thinking just a quick spray of brake clean through the ports. One of the other things I saw was a whole bunch of like debris in here. Obviously that's never a good sign. Fortunately, my little well, here you can see a whole bunch of it in that. I don't know if y'all can see that or not, but it was caked up. Alright, I'll set this right there. So these 2 little ports here and here, they still have a whole bunch of stuff in them. Everything else is looking pretty dang spiffy. I think what we'll do is turn it upside down, run it one more time. Here I'm installing the gasket, float seats, and floats for the top hat, getting ready for the rest. I think it's time to deal with this oil leak. So yesterday we took it out for a drive. It's firing on all cylinders finally, but if you noticed, we have a solid mist of oil all over the windscreen, front of the motor, even like sprayed up to the electric fan on the front. If you can see how shiny that thing is. So I guess this morning we're going back under the car again. We're gonna wipe everything down, get all the oil out everywhere, clean everything up as best we can. I was reading, somebody said this hole right here is commonly drilled until it has a leak where it comes out from the fuel rod passage, you know, where it hits the cam and pushes the fuel pump. So I'm gonna just go ahead and block those two up. On this side, somebody said that maybe it could happen on both sides. I'm gonna block those two up. At this point, it's pretty much either the holes in the front of the block weep oil out, and once you get under pressure and start turning RPMs pretty hard, they actually spray out, or the timing chains or the front main seal is leaking. As of right now, I don't see any leaks anywhere else. It's just even like if we had it sitting here idling, it doesn't leak at all. The only times I've had any leaks is on the two drives. The first one we were running rough, so I really didn't even consider it. The second time, we just did about a mile, and I could see it as we were coming back. So once it got pretty good and warm, I could see it as we're coming back, starting to miss the windshield. So, and of course, you know, with no hood on, it just kind of wafts up. So yeah, we're gonna wipe all that stuff down, go back under the car again, and then once we get everything cleaned up, we'll block those bolts off, those holes off with a bolt. As you can see, it's just kind of running off of everything down here. Let's go for a ride. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can fix this passenger window. I already popped the switch out. It does nothing, but whenever I popped it out, I realized that it wasn't plugged in underneath. And I realized that to plug it in, you have to actually go through the shifter hole. So I put a bolt right there. I put a bolt right there. That cured the oil leak. I pulled the blinker flasher, swapped it for the hazards. Blinkers work, so I'm gonna go get a fresh one of these. I got a tail light or a reverse light that's out, so I'm gonna get a fresh one of those. 2 fresh windshield wipers. Honestly, we could throw a hood on this thing, and I think officially it'd be legal for the streets. I put a little bottle in here to check for overheating slash overflow. I didn't get anything back, so I guess that's a good sign. We drove for maybe 2 miles. Definitely got to temp. Pushed it hard a couple of times. Didn't see anything notable. All right, so for our punch list, we have to fix the seat. Figured out what that is. There's a cable or a small piece of wire that goes from the passenger side of the driver's seat to the driver's side where the lever is to slide the rails front, forwards, and back. So you can't actually move it. You just have to reach under and move it. We'll have to figure out some piece of wire or something to fix that up. We still got to throw the hood on. Lights. I ran to town. Got a flasher for the blinkers. That was the only thing wrong with it. It is a bear to get to, though. You got to crawl underneath the dash, basically upside down in the seat. Pull the panel down so that you can get to the flasher. We still need, the reverse light. I went and got another reverse light also. I kind of had a pain in the butt getting that off. Apparently the front edge of the tail light was hung on the top of the bumper, like just on the front lip of it. Anyway, so I had to wrestle that thing for a little bit, but once it popped over that, it comes out, I mean, easy as can be. Windshield wipers. We got a set of windshield wipers. $47. Windshield wipers are ridiculous. I don't know what happened, but so we got windshield wipers. And then we got power steering. So I cut this bracket for the AC. I figured all I needed was something just to kind of brace it up a little bit. So snug that all up. Belt's a little bit loose, but good enough. When it comes time to actually put AC on it, we're going to have to probably get a serpentine belt and a new setup. We're still running the electric fan with a quick connect. So what's left on our to-do? We got to set up the electric fan to run off of a thermostat on the motor. It'll just be like a thermostat to grounds out at 180 or something, kicks back off at 170. We'll run that through the original relay for the fan. I think we'll need to hook up the heater to the heater cord so that we can have a defroster. I think officially that is required. I don't know. We might have to work on that stuff a little bit. Still got a handful of vacuum lines we need to hook up. We still have to hook up the throwdown cable from the transmission. But as far as getting it inspected, we need exhaust and we need the heater to work so you can have a defroster. That's it. This is the end. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. This Camaro build's been pretty interesting. A couple of random things I didn't know. Learned that. Hopefully I helped y'all learn a little something here or there too. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'd love to help y'all out if I can. We'll see you next time.